Okay, Quad Nine's here. Sad news, everybody. The game three of the second round didn't. It just disappeared. I actually saw it during the Cube event. I was going over side to check, see which ones were getting recorded if they were, and it was there. And then it won't let you watch them while the event's going. And when the event concluded, I went back over, was going through them, and it was just missing. So I did win, so the good news there. This is the game one of the finals, but yeah, no game three of round two. Actually won by show and telling Progenitus in, and I also had Talrand and made like two Drakes, so he couldn't. He had Liliana in hand, but even he plays her, he can't make me sack my Progenitus. So wound up getting there, getting to the finals, and let's see how this went. Once again, it puts me on top. Not sure like it does this randomly in the replay mode. You had to mulligan to 6. I kept a 1-lander on the draw because I knew if I hit any land I could demonic tutor. Well, I ended up hitting 2 running lands, which was pretty good, and got my looter out. He's got his assassin, which is bad news for my looter. But I'm thinking, hopefully, if I can just resolve this demonic tutor, I'll be okay. Sad times he's got the spell pierce. Probably could have played around a little bit better. I was playing around Daze or Force Spike, but not the spell pierce. Luckily, I wound up drawing the Progenitus anyway. So I've got the little combo in hand, but he is hitting me pretty hard. He's got Legacy Lure out, which doesn't do a lot. Like I said, unless he can make me sack it. He puts Precursor Golem into play. Now at this point, I forget about the text Precursor Golem. I'm like, oh, well, if I control magic it, I'll get the other golems too. Just in case I decide to block a golem. And then about that time I read it, and sure enough it says instant or sorcery. So I really should have took his Night Veil Spectre instead of the Precursor Golem, because then I could have swung in with the Progenitus without dying. As it was, I couldn't. I had to stay back to be able to block some number of creatures. If I'd have done that, of course, it didn't matter because he had treachery to take back whatever I would have taken. So even though I got to show and tell Progenitus in, he had enough board presence and just enough really sweet spells like treachery, one of my favorite cube spells, that he took it down. So we're going to try and win 2 games in a row. Okay, here we go. Game 2 in the finals. Pretty good keep here. I got Ancestral, Thoughtseize, Brainstorm, bunch of lands. So I play my tap land first, and I thought I'd Thoughtseize him. I get Jitte out of the hand because I just really don't like that card ever. It's just horrible to play against. You can almost never beat it, especially if you're trying to, beat them by damage, just the life gain they can get and making their creatures bigger. Anyway, so onto this, getting to brainstorm a little bit. Pick up some things, got to suspend the Ancestral Visions. Of course, I saw his hand. He had some pretty good stuff. He had a Dungeon Geist, I think a kill spell. I'm trying to remember. So waiting for the Ancestral to resolve. I didn't draw my Show and Tell, but I Demonic Tutor. He lets it resolved, and I go get my Show and Tell there. Here, like I say, he taps down the looter with the Dungeon Geist. I've got a little bit of mana open. I did tap incorrectly, otherwise I could have ultimate priced it there. Instead, I just use it to see a little bit of this deck. I brain freezing for a couple. Just trying to use my mana. I know I'm not going to beat him by the brain freeze route at this point. Just really trying to get him to tap out. This is interesting. He Flame Tongues the looter instead of the other Flame Tongue. Kind of strange. So either way, I'm just going to kill the Flame Tongue, but he says no. Then I try to, he condescends it. I'm sure I don't have the mana for that. Luckily, he did kind of tap out there. So I show and tell him Progenitus. Is it charm his guy? And then here he's chump blocking here just to give him the out for another turn. I don't know what he drew. He's only got one card in hand. Hitting him for 14, down to 4. One draw step, and he routes the whole board. So sad times. He's got all the way down to 4, and I've got this lonely control magic in hand. I say he's just making land drops. He does have Celestial Conade in play, which, you know, it'd be 5 turns since I was at 17. Luckily, here I draw Wheel of Fortune into my Rolling Earthquake. If he has a counter here, I'm just pretty much done. He doesn't. Gets there. Going to get a chance to go to game 3 and possibly take this draft down. Okay, game 3 in the finals. Just keep a land. Keep a handful of lands and spells. Draw Progenitus. Not the best, unless you actually have Show and Tell. I have no other way of casting it. His deck's really good, so I don't know what my chances are in this game. Legacy Lure doesn't do anything for Progenitus, but it makes my other creatures just worse. Here, my Frantic Search does pretty good work. I know I can get rid of the Maze of Ith. Doesn't have many targets for his deck. Get to suspend the Ancestral Vision. Draw Cryptic Command, which is pretty big. I like being able to counter something and possibly bounce that Legacy's Lure, which is what I was going for. Like I said, instead of suspending Gargadon there, I decided to hold up Cryptic Command and just kind of let my visions tick down. Here I draw lands. I can suspend the Gargadon with still Cryptic Command mana up. He's still drawing cards. He's at 5 cards. But luckily I get to resolve the draw 3. Which is a pretty good feeling there. Gonna Thoughtseize him. Yeah, he decides to say no. I decided to fight back. And he has Spell Pierce again. So he Spell Pierced me 2 times in 3 games. Just got me. But he's tapped out. So here with the tap out, I'm sorry, that was on my turn. So here he plays Jace on his turn. Still holds up non-blue mana. So not so worried about that. Get the Brainstorm into my Show and Tell. Pretty excited about that. Show and Tell in the Progenitus. And what does he have? He has Old Man the Sea. Not quite what I'm worried about. He does have a lot of cards and a good bit of mana. He routes. I sack Progenitus to Greater Gargadon. Doesn't really do much. Kind of sad times. Not sure what we're going to do here to get there. I redraw Progenitus, which is just horrible, since without Show and Tell, I can't get it into play. I wait till his turn. Gifts on his instep. Go for Monarch Tutor, Earthquake, Xeric, Wheel of Fortune. He gives me Xeric and Rolling Earthquake. So we're going to try and play what we can. Get the Jace. Get the Jace down to 4. It was all the way up to 7. He gets the Jace. This time he -2. He's dropping it down to 2. Tries to play Nightville Spectre. He's going to Detention Sphere my Xeric, which really not fun. I've still got a lot of cards in hand, but he's drawing ahead pretty good bit. And the worst thing is, if my Gargadon goes off, he's going to have enough counters on Legacy's Lure to take it. So I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do here. I'm going to Rolling Earthquake just to get rid of the Jace, but not kill the Nightville Spectre, which I have control of right now. I kind of wanted to make him try and take the Nightville Spectre. Here he treacherous it. I sack it to the Gargadon, so he doesn't get it back, and it counters the spell. He can untap his lands. Just going to Is It Charm to dig through the deck a little bit. Okay, the Brain Freeze. Hadn't thought about Brain Freeze, actually, because it just hasn't come up in any of the games. But I do draw it here. Once again, the Gargadon's getting close to coming off, and I'm not sure what I want to do here. So I play Talrand, pass a little bit of mana up. I'm hoping to be able to untap. The problem is he compulses, so he gets down to 14 cards in his deck. And then he casts Persecution. Now, I don't know what he's going to name, so I just try to do as much as I can right here. I go ahead and cast the Gargadon, and also Ultimate Price it, so he can't take it. He tries to take my Talrand. In response, I get to Brain Freeze him for 5 copies. He has 14 cards in his deck, so he's all the way dead. Unless for some reason it had an draws in there, it looks pretty good. He randomly names red in his persecute, which does get our flame tongue, but it doesn't matter because he has no library. We started off trying to draft a kind of a combo deck or storm deck. Didn't really get all the components because we saw in round one somebody else was trying to do the same thing. But fittingly enough, we get to finish up the last game with a storm off to mill him out. Like I said, he had a very strong deck. The route really got us bad in one game, but pulled it out. One of the first cubes I've won in this time it's been around. So I've drafted probably 5 times, and this first one I've won. So really happy to get that one. Thanks for watching.